Hi, my name is Jessica Madaski, and I'm here to tell you my belief as to why we should know the basic signs of early child abuse. Not even just early, but just child abuse in general, why we should know the signs of it, and what we can do to help a child out in the situation if they are being abused. And hopefully, by the time I am through talking, you will agree. We all know child abuse is a very, very bad thing, and no child should ever, 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 ever have to endure it. Because frankly, children don't deserve it. They're young creatures who, they're just learning. They shouldn't have to learn dysfunction right off the bat. A lot of people like to think that child abuse is not common, but in fact it is. According to DoSomething.org, 5 children die a day from child abuse. Let that sink in. According to DoSomething.org yet again, 68% of children who are abused by their own family member or members, depending on the situation. Let's put this into a personal perspective. Imagine your home life and the people that you love and you're surrounded by day by day. Imagine one of them hurting you intentionally, whether it be verbally, physically, whatever. Imagine that. That's scary. That is terrifying. And it's really unexpected, quite frankly. I am a survivor of child abuse, and my abuser was my mom. And I didn't want to come home. Home was no longer home for me because of the abuse that I had to endure from her. But thankfully, some people were able to recognize what was going on, and I was able to talk through it with other people. Nothing was really done. I had to leave my situation myself, but not a lot of kids do that. A lot of kids get taken away by CPS because people have recognized the signs. So, according to pregnancy-birth-baby.org, a few signs are a child wearing long clothing such as a sweatshirt or jeans in hot weather. If somebody has bruises or cuts or whatever from abuse, they're going to try and hide it. At least kids, kids are going to try to hide it because that's probably what their abuser is telling them to do, or they don't want to get questions. Another telltale sign is a child being anxious. Children usually are not anxious. On occasion, they're just born anxious, but usually they're not. Usually they're outgoing little creatures and they're just trying to live their best life, really. So just be mindful of how the behavior of the kid is. And lastly, but not least, there's so many more signs that we could look at and recognize. Is a child being withdrawn? Children usually are very outgoing and like to be in social situations. Again, depending on the child, sometimes children don't like it, but the majority do. And especially if a child goes from interacting with everyone to barely talking to anyone, that should be a red flag for you. I believe, and I strongly believe, that children are our future. Our world is going to end up in their hands, and we need to make sure that they're okay to handle it. According to UNICEF.org, children need to grow healthily to have a healthy future. I'm going to repeat that. Children need to grow healthily to have a healthy future. If they only know dysfunction, chances are their future is going to only know dysfunction and vice versa. The majority of us have had some type of time in our lives where things weren't so scary. And you probably could agree. And that's a wonderful thing. And we've also seen scary things, but we've also seen times go back to not so scary times. And the reason for that is because somebody stepped up and said, this doesn't have to be this way. So we need to give kids better days. We need to say, hey, you don't have to live this way. We got you. We as young adults, we know what true stress is. And no kid should ever have to endure the feeling of stress at a young age because of abuse. So by us knowing the signs of child abuse, we can recognize it, We can say something and do something to get the child out of that situation, because trust me, no child should ever have to have that baggage on their minds all the time of they're not enough because that's what their abuser's telling them, or what did they do wrong to deserve the abuse that they're receiving. We are still young adults and we can make the biggest change. Our generation has known not so great things family wise, and we can change that for others, for little kids. They don't have to continue that. So please be mindful of the signs, be observant, and don't be scared to say something because you could save a life. Thank you.